Hello, welcome to the channel Why Stories. Enjoy watching.
Where are you going? To your mistress? The husband froze at the doorway. Turning around, he saw his smiling wife and a red folder in her hands. You are completely healthy, Consuelo Ramirez. Natalia Hernandez shook her head, looking at the test results. So, don't worry, you were concerned for nothing. I'll prescribe you some vitamins now. That's the maximum you might need. Just a seasonal malaise. You need to support your immunity. All right. The woman with bright red lips smiled faintly. And I'd also like to speak with you privately for just a couple of minutes. She glanced at the nurse, hinting that the therapist should send her away. Fine. Natalia looked at her with doubt. Ines, would you please step out for a bit? Patients often made such requests. Frequently they were troubled by questions that, in their opinion, shouldn't be asked in front of others. Just typical embarrassment, or something similar. The nurse rolled her eyes and, sighing loudly, got up from her chair. When the door closed behind her, Natalia looked attentively at her patient. She had seen this woman only once before in her life. 3 days ago, she had come for an appointment, complaining of headaches. However, her tests were completely normal, and outwardly the patient seemed absolutely healthy. Your husband is cheating on you. The woman with bright red lips stared intently at Natalia Hernandez. Excuse me, what? She responded with bewilderment. I didn't want to involve your colleagues in such unflattering details of your personal life. Consuelo smiled with sadness in her eyes. But this can't continue any longer. Consuelo Ramirez, I think you've confused me with someone else. I'm sorry, but there are other patients waiting, and I wouldn't want to keep them waiting. Natalia nervously fidgeted with papers in her hands. What makes you think this? Or are you saying he's cheating on me with you?
No, God forbid.
Consuelo shook her head. Natalia Hernandez. I understand that such statements are somewhat unsettling, but I'm not the kind of person who would simply make baseless accusations against someone. Your husband's name is Gabriel? Yes. Natalia narrowed her eyes. But the patient opened her bag and took out a thin red folder. Here, you can look. All the evidence is in here. With trembling hands, Natalia took the folder and opened it. Inside were photographs. Biting her lip, the woman looked at them and couldn't believe her eyes. Consuelo Ramirez, what is this? She finally asked. This? The patient smirked. I think you can see perfectly well what it is. The girl with whom your husband is doing all this is my daughter. Her name is Alicia. I have no idea what drove her to have an affair with an older and, moreover, married man. But as a mother, I can't watch this calmly. Alicia has a boyfriend, a very good one. They've been together for 3 years now, and they're heading toward marriage. He doesn't know anything yet, and I hope he won't find out if Alicia ends all this as soon as possible. To be honest, I don't approve of her relationship with your husband. Alicia is still young and foolish. I can't imagine what she's thinking. She's ruining her life. There's no future in such a relationship, and she understands this herself. And Antonio, her fiancé, doesn't deserve such treatment. Yes, we all make mistakes. Life can throw worse things at us. Feelings sometimes overwhelm you so much that you drown. But this is beyond any limits. If you're interested, this disgrace has been going on for at least 6 months. The patient's words reached Natalia from somewhere far away. In her head, only images of her beloved Gabriel's infidelity flashed. Gabriel, with whom they had lived in harmony for nearly 20 years. What do you want from me? Natalia muttered in a colorless voice. What do you mean, what? Consuelo was surprised. You must end this affair. It's your husband. I understand that you've been together for a long time. You even have children, I've checked. And if anyone can convince him of the pointlessness of a relationship with a 19-year-old girl,
It's his own wife. I don't know. Threaten him with divorce. Divorce!
Natalia looked absently out the window. I'm afraid you don't understand what you're asking. And what makes you think I can influence him somehow? Are you suggesting I confront him directly with all this?
Why not? I personally strongly doubt that a girl can seriously love a man who could be her father. How old is your husband? 48. There, you see. Even Alicia's father is younger. And why couldn't Alicia's father talk to his daughter if she doesn't listen to you?
Natalia suggested. Because he doesn't know anything, and God forbid he finds out. I paid a private detective a lot of money to get me this compromising material. And so that Leonardo, my husband, wouldn't even suspect that his daughter is behaving like the last... Well, he'd kill her right away.
These are blows to reputation and capital. Leonardo and Antonio have what you might call a family business. If Antonio learns about Alicia's infidelity, he'll immediately dump her and cut off any ties with Leonardo.
That's a blow to the business, and there's so much money involved, you can't even imagine.
I wouldn't know, Natalia sighed sadly. But why do you think I care at all about your daughter? You've just come in 1 minute destroyed everything I've built for years. And now you think I'll just forgive my husband and beg on my knees for him to leave his mistress? Is it all that simple for you?
And what's wrong with that? Threaten him with divorce, as I said. I don't think he'll exchange a stable marriage for an affair, especially putting at risk his reputation as a successful family psychologist.
I understand your logic, but I can't help. I won't give my husband ultimatums. And anyway, how do I know? Maybe this is all staged, and you're simply acting on behalf of Gabriel's competitors. We've been through something similar before.
Back then, I barely believed him, but as it turned out, not in vain. There was slander from another specialist aimed at defaming my husband. And these photos are just more nonsense.
This is not nonsense.
Consuelo jumped up from her chair.
Keep in mind, if you don't cooperate, then I'll have to take other measures. I'm giving you a chance to think about it. Here's my business card. I expect your call by Sunday.
In the evening, coming home, Natalia sank heavily into an armchair and closed her eyes. Gabriel wasn't home yet. But that wasn't surprising. Her husband often worked late.
I don't believe this woman, thought Natalia.
Gabriel would never cheat on me. Yes, things aren't as smooth as they could be, but no matter how you look at it, I've always trusted my husband. Moreover, I would never believe that he got involved with some girl at his age. He always tells me even about patients hitting on him, colleagues flirting. And here, 6 months. It can't be. In recent months, Gabriel has, on the contrary, been behaving exemplarily. He refused to work on weekends. We constantly go somewhere, go out together. He even gives flowers more often than usual. Wait, what if that's precisely an indicator of his guilt? Diverting my attention, so to speak. Still, nonsense. When does all this even happen? His schedule is tight. I've personally seen his diary. There's no free space. Patients even manage to call home, just so he'll see them. Enough. I need to distract myself, or I'll wind myself up. Ask him directly. Yeah, right, as if he'll confess. No, I trust my husband, and I don't care what some crazy woman came and started telling fairy tales. Without trust, you can't talk about marriage at all. Gabriel understands this well. Especially after that incident last year, he swore that if, God forbid, something similar happens, he'll immediately let me know. And we worked through everything then. Reassuring herself, Natalia kept holding the ill-fated red folder in her hands. She didn't want to look at what was inside again. Darling, Gabriel's voice came from the hallway.
Are you home? Gabriel!
Natalia shouted. hiding the folder under the armchair cushion. "I'm here." "Yes. I didn't even notice how I dozed off. I'm so tired today." "I can't imagine what keeps you in that clinic." A smiling man appeared at the doorway of the living room. "Here's something for you." I decided to sweeten your bitter pill of public health care a bit. Her husband handed Natalia a luxurious bouquet of hyacinths and lilies. At the sight of the flowers, the woman first rejoiced, but then froze. The images of her husband with Alicia again surfaced in her head. "Nata, what's wrong with you?" Gabriel was surprised. "Don't you like it?" "I'm sorry, I was choosing in a hurry, just popped into a flower shop." "Everything's fine," Natalia smiled. "Sorry, I felt a bit dizzy." "The flowers are very beautiful. Where did you even get hyacinths at this time of year? Just don't lie that it was in the first shop you came across. I won't believe it." "You caught me," laughed Gabriel. "I ordered them in advance. Who better than me knows your favorite flowers? And finding them is really not that easy." "Thank you, dear." The woman kissed her husband on the cheek. "I'll go put them in a vase. And also..." "Yes? Can I ask a silly question?" "Such a smart woman as you can't ask silly questions." "Still, Gabriel, don't you think you've been giving me bouquets too often lately?" "Really?" Her husband was taken aback. "Wait, I think it's quite normal when a man wants and can afford to please his beloved woman." "That's not what I mean." Natalia frowned. "It's just that before, bouquets only appeared on holidays or for special occasions." "Exactly." Her husband wiped his finger. "That's exactly why I decided to give them to you more often. I know how much you love flowers, and it was my mistake to ignore this need of yours. And I call myself a family psychologist. No, Natasha, a woman needs flowers. With them she blooms and feels desired, beautiful and young for longer. It's a real pity that I realized this so late. But better late than never, right?" "Right," Natalia smirked. "Okay, I'll go get some water and warm up dinner. Maybe go to a restaurant," Gabriel suggested. "A restaurant?" His wife was surprised. "Why? Is there some kind of occasion? Or also as compensation for missed opportunities?" "Just because." "Yes, it's already late, but we can easily have dinner in some pizzeria. There's a great Spanish restaurant nearby. You're probably exhausted from all your old ladies and gentlemen. And it's kind of piggish on my part to demand dinner." "Well, I don't know." Natalia looked at her husband with doubt. "To be honest, I'm not really ready." "Oh, come on, you look great. You wouldn't even say that you've been listening to patients' complaints since morning." "All right, Gabriel, I'll just change quickly." Natalia gave in. The evening went wonderfully. Gabriel showed no signs of infidelity in any way. Looking at her husband, Natalia Hernandez increasingly convinced herself that Consuelo had been sent by competitors to create discord in their family and professional life. The last working day of the week turned out to be difficult. On Friday, Natalia worked the first shift. As if on purpose, there were many people wanting to close their sick leaves. Old ladies had conspired to make a scene, and the computer shamelessly froze at the most inopportune moment. By 5 o'clock, the woman was completely exhausted. She wanted to cry. To make matters worse, Consuelo Ramirez's business card caught her eye, reminding her of the recent incident. Natalia had no intention of calling her. Her communication with Gabriel was going as well as could be, and there was no point in spoiling it with absurd jealousy. Leaving the clinic, Natalia headed to the parking lot. A fine drizzle was falling, combined with a chilly wind, making the weather awful. Natalia dreamed of getting home as quickly as possible, brewing her favorite tea, and, wrapped in a warm blanket, settling comfortably with a book in her hands. However, after sitting behind the wheel, she suddenly felt a clear desire to meet with her husband. The woman knew that today he planned to work until the limit. That is, until 9 in the evening. "It's fine," thought Natalia. "I won't distract him much. I'll just pop in for 10 minutes. Just hug him. calm down, and go home. And tomorrow is already a day off, and we can forget about this hectic week. Natalia Hernandez pulled up to a small mansion in the center where her husband rented a cozy office. This is where his family therapy clinic was located, where all the unhappy couples in the city so desperately wanted to get in. After finding a parking spot with some difficulty, Natalia spotted a tiny coffee shop nearby. She remembered that Gabriel often praised this place, advertising their coffee and eclairs. 2 custard pastries with berries and a large cappuccino without sugar. She smiled at the young man behind the counter.
To go? Yes. I've never tried your pastries, but my husband praises them so much. I decided to bring him coffee. He probably doesn't have time to take a break. I know him well. I'll also try your sweets. If I like them, I promise I'll become your regular customer.
Great, nodded the barista. Does your husband work nearby? Yes, he comes to you every day. His office is across the street. He's a family psychologist.
Ah, the young man beamed. That wouldn't be Gabriel Rodriguez, would it? The very one, Natalia smiled broadly. I see now that he really does come to you often, since you know him by face.
It's good that you mentioned it, or I was about to add cinnamon, but he doesn't like it. He prefers caramel. Yes, he often comes here, both alone and with his daughter.
With his daughter?
Natalia was surprised. But Gabriel and Natalia's daughter, Paulina, lived in another city. Right after school, she was admitted to the Academy of Design and moved away. A year later, her younger brother Miguel followed her. The children visited their parents during holidays and family celebrations.
The young man's words greatly confused Natalia. And again, scenes from the photographs appeared before her eyes, where her husband was relaxing in the arms of a young lady.
Already, the young man interrupted the flow of her thoughts. Thank you. She frowned and paid.
Everyone seems to be in on it.
Natalia fumed to herself.
Why did he assume it was his daughter? Surely Gabriel came here with his assistant. That makes perfect sense. Both of them running around all day, solving other people's problems. It's quite natural that they go for coffee together. And this kid just caused panic. And I'm good too.
Ever since Consuelo showed up, I see deceit in everything. I'll ask Gabriel right now. I'm tired of this paranoia. Life was bustling in the vestibule of the mansion. The girl at the reception desk was impatiently explaining something to a messenger and didn't even pay attention to Natalia. The woman walked to the wide Baroque-style staircase and went up to the second floor, where her husband's practice was located. The sofas in the corridor seemed empty, which greatly surprised Natalia. She had always imagined that here, like in her native clinic, there should be a whole crowd, impatiently buzzing like an irritated swarm of bees. Or even wasps, intending to painfully sting anyone who dared to come without an appointment or just to ask a question. Great. Natalia was happy. That means Gabriel doesn't have anyone right now, and he can calmly have at least a coffee. A young woman's head appeared from behind the counter, who, it seemed, had heard the sound of Natasha's steps.
Oh, Natalia Hernandez, she greeted joyfully.
I thought it was one of the patients.
Hello, Anita.
Natalia smiled at her. I just decided to drop by Gabriel's on my way, bring him coffee, but it seems kind of empty here. Ah, we've already finished for today. Anita leaned on the counter.
It's Friday, after all. Gabriel Rodriguez always finishes by 5 on Fridays.
Really?
Natalia tensed.
Is that so?
Of course. He always rushes home before the weekend, and he chases me away too. How can I leave a mess here? I'm preparing the schedule for next week. I had a tough day today, Natalia sighed, realizing that not once in the last 6 months had her husband come home earlier on Fridays. On the contrary, on these days he always stayed late, motivating it by freeing up Saturday for the family, taking more patients. I completely forgot that today's Friday, can you imagine? Too bad, the pastries will go to waste.
Maybe I'll leave them for you then. At least they'll lift your mood and give you energy to process documents. Oh, those are from the neighboring coffee shop.
The girl's eyes lit up.
I really love their coffee. Gabriel Rodriguez comes from his break, always brings it. Don't you go with him.
Natalia became interested.
Oh, no.
Anita shook her head.
No time. I'm alone here now. We can't have patients come and find the door closed. So I have to be on duty without a break from work. Thanks to Gabriel Rodriguez, he never forgets about me. Brings coffee and pastries, and now you too.
Help yourself, Anita, and I'll go,
The woman mumbled.
Gabriel seems to be home already, and I haven't even prepared dinner.
You've gone a bit pale, the assistant asked with concern. Blood pressure, maybe?
Everything's fine.
Natalia waved her hand. Just tired. Well, have a good evening.
Goodbye. The girl smiled as she left.
Gabriel wasn't at home. Natalia was completely confused. Several times she called her husband, but his phone was silent. What does this mean? She thought. It turns out that what Consuelo said is true, and the photographs aren't fake. Could Gabriel have been deceiving me so brazenly and unceremoniously all this time? I'll give him trouble. He lies so convincingly. He's delayed at work. Yeah, right. He's earning money, freeing up weekends. And he's actually spending all these free hours with his mistress. What a scoundrel. 20 years of marriage down the drain. Scum. I hate him. Soon he'll show up with a smug smile and tell me how he worked hard solving other people's family problems. And what about his own? No, I won't leave it like this. Where's that business card?
Natalia rummaged in her purse and produced a small card with Consuelo's contacts. The phone was answered immediately.
I'm listening, a female voice sang. Consuelo Ramirez, this is Natalia, your therapist.
I didn't think you'd call after all, she replied dryly. And I didn't think. I didn't believe until the very end that everything you said was true. And what, I wonder, happened that made you change your mind?
It doesn't matter. Natalia sighed. Tell me, what is required of me? As I already told you earlier, just hint to your husband about divorce. Gabriel is a well-known person, reputation is dear to him, and such a family scandal will hurt it badly. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Okay. Let's say the husband gives in. But what if Alicia, your daughter, doesn't appreciate his desire to break up with her? Alicia is a fool. She's not even 20 yet. Essentially still a child. She'll cry for a week and calm down. I'll take care of that. And what will we do if Gabriel doesn't agree? I don't understand. I know my husband well. I knew him, rather. Natalia smirked. Gabriel might act on principle, spitting on his reputation. What if he loves your daughter? Don't make me laugh. Infatuation, passion, fascination, these are far from love. Both have fallen into this web and are desperately floundering. The best way to pull them out is to yank them sharply, painfully, but giving them a chance to recover while there's still time. Antonio is already beginning to suspect. It seems to me. I can't allow this. Thank God, he's off and away, and this flibbertigibbet manages to conduct her affair with impunity so far. I didn't just set you deadlines for no reason. At the end of the week, he returns. Gabriel needs to break up with Alicia in the next 2 days. She'll need a few more days to get her nerves in order. I've already taken care of that. The matter is only with you. Consuelo, can I ask one question? Yes, of course.
Why did you come to me? You could have gone straight to Gabriel and blackmailed him without involving his wife in his infidelity. It would have been possible to keep it all secret, and there would have been less harm, at least to my family.
Gabriel wouldn't have agreed, at least not right away. And we don't have much time. But a woman's influence on a man shouldn't be underestimated. But what's the point for me to get involved in this venture at all? Have you thought that, having learned about my husband's infidelity, I myself might not want to live with him anymore? Natalia Hernandez. Consuelo said reproachfully.
Are you really ready to put an end to a long-term marriage because of some fleeting affair?
So, according to you, I should just accept the fact of infidelity and calmly continue to look my husband in the eye? Don't you think this is some kind of nonsense? Why should I care about the well-being of a girl I don't know who is also trying to steal my husband? I'm sorry, I probably called you in vain. It was a momentary confusion. My family is more important to me.
Wait. Natalia Hernandez. I'll pay, if you want. Pay well.
My God, what kind of mother are you? Do you really think, Consuelo Ramirez, that everything and everyone can be bought? I don't care about you and your daughter. Because of your will, I'm now losing my family. He cheated. He's guilty. But maybe I wouldn't want to know about it.
As for Alicia, spare her from this overprotection. She's already an adult. She can decide for herself what to do and how. Although, judging by everything, the girl's upbringing is lacking. Talk to her. If she doesn't give a damn about your Antonio, then let her separate.
Believe me, even if Gabriel rejects her, after some time there will be another, and then the next. Will you chase away each one? She doesn't love her fiancé, so why force her? Talk normally with your daughter.
You don't understand. Consuelo started screaming.
If Antonio leaves the business, my husband and I will lose huge money.
I don't care about your money. You're stuck in your material world and dragging others into it. Think about your daughter as a person at least once, not as a piece of meat that can be sold.
Don't you care at all that she's with your husband?
That's already between me and my husband. How we'll resolve this issue? Definitely not your business. Thanks for your concern.
Well, Consuelo suddenly calmed down. Today is still only Friday. Keep in mind, you still have time to come to your senses and inform your husband about the divorce before Sunday. If you don't do this, then blame yourself. We'll solve the issue with more radical methods.
What a snake.
Natalia threw down the phone. Not only did she ruin everything for me, but she's also brazen enough to threaten. Even feel sorry for this, Alicia. With such a mother, you don't need enemies. No, I'll have to talk to Gabriel in any case. Now I know everything. I simply can't pretend that nothing happened. But divorce? People make mistakes. Only Gabriel knows what pushed him to stray. They say both are to blame in infidelity. Maybe I overlooked something, pressured too much, demanded too much, or gave too little. I don't know if I can forgive him. It's too early to talk about that. But if he repents, leaves this girl, then the family can still be saved. So let this Consuelo divorce her husband herself and not meddle with us. What can she do? Ruin his reputation? To hell with it. Gabriel is a professional. We can always move, start all over again. And in general, savings are enough to live comfortably in old age. But I work too. God, it seems I've already forgiven him in advance. That's not right either. In any case, dialogue first. In her reflections, Natalia herself didn't notice how it got dark. The sound of a key turning in the lock came from the corridor. The woman silently stood up and went to meet her husband. She decided to give him one last chance to tell the truth, and only then decide what to do next.
Where were you?
She asked without greeting.
What do you mean?
Gabriel was taken aback. I told you this morning that I'm working until 9 today. The schedule is tight. The last couple even kept me for another 20 minutes. I couldn't just chase them away. Is that so? Natalia narrowed her eyes.
What's with you?
The man pulled her to himself, but his wife stepped aside. Sorry, my head has been aching all day. I must have confused something. If you're going to have dinner, warm it up yourself. I'll go lie down.
Should I call a doctor?
Natalia shook her head and went to the bedroom, leaving a puzzled Gabriel in the corridor. A couple of times he looked in on her, but the woman pretended to be asleep. However, sleep wouldn't come. Not the best thoughts swarmed in her head. What to do? Natalia tormented herself with thoughts. I don't have the courage to tell him everything directly. And there's this innocent smile of his. But now I know for sure that Gabriel is lying. He wasn't at work at 5. I saw it with my own eyes. That means he spent more than 4 hours with this Alicia. How do people usually behave who face this? Make a scene? 0 sense. Gabriel is a talented psychologist, and he has the advantage in dialogue. Just enduring is even worse. It's unknown what this will lead to. On one hand, he might just play around and dump this girl, especially since they've been meeting for a long time. But he still returns home, always sleeps here, without exceptions. But he's still a traitor, a cheater. What annoys me the most is that he takes me for a fool. If Consuelo hadn't appeared in my office then, I wouldn't have known anything. And what's better in such cases? To know and torment yourself with anxieties, or to live in blissful ignorance. Either way, I'm the fool in this situation. After all, I always believed Gabriel. I need to think about how to start a conversation with him. After all, I have the photographs. I'll just show them to him and see what he says. If he starts denying it, then I won't vouch for myself. After Gabriel came to the bedroom and lay down, Natalia still couldn't fall asleep for a long time. She was afraid to move and accidentally touch her husband, although his hand constantly tried to embrace her. The morning didn't go well. Natalia prepared breakfast without desire, snapped at her husband's questions. Even being in the same room with him was unpleasant. Gabriel couldn't understand what was happening. He asked directly, but Natalia blamed it on feeling unwell. She cancelled the planned trip to the countryside, telling her husband that she had neither the mood nor the strength to go somewhere and meet friends. Gabriel caringly brought his wife headache pills, brewed strong tea, but Natalia buried herself in her phone and tried to distract herself somehow. Around 4 o'clock, her husband suddenly got dressed and headed for the corridor. He didn't say anything to Natalia, which greatly surprised the woman. Usually, Gabriel informed her even if he just went out to smoke on the landing. Seems he's offended. His wife smirked to herself. Doesn't understand why I'm behaving like this. Interestingly, where is he going? Maybe now is the right time to start the conversation. And where are you off to? Natalia casually asked, standing behind the back of Gabriel, who was putting on his shoes. Not to your mistress, are you? The man flinched and slowly turned around. Natalia stood, holding a red folder in her hands, and smiled somewhat strangely.
What?
Gabriel nervously responded. To what, mistress? Cigarettes ran out. I'll walk to the tobacco shop. Natasha, what's come over you? You've been acting strangely all day. Now you're talking nonsense. What's going on? You'd better explain to me what's going on. His wife sighed and opened the folder. Here's what's going on. And here. And here? I'll just keep quiet. Natalia threw one photograph after another at her husband. Gabriel stood as if struck by lightning, silently looking at the pictures scattered around him. Where did you get them? He asked in a voice cracked, like a dry branch. Does it matter? Natalia flared up.
And don't you think that in this situation, I should be the one asking questions? Gabriel, have you completely lost your mind? Got involved with a girl who's the same age as your daughter. And you lied to me so brazenly. Do you think I don't know that you left work at 5 yesterday? I was there.
Anita told me that. As usual, you left that day. You've been feeding me bull for half a year. Aren't you ashamed? Natasha, calm down. I'll explain everything. Gabriel tried to defend himself, but the woman wouldn't even listen.
What's there to explain?
She laughed when the anger subsided slightly.
What? Just admit that systematically and brazenly you were destroying our so-called perfect family. You lied to the one you weren't ashamed to embrace afterward. These flowers of yours, romance, joint trips, all lies. You did it all so masterfully, I didn't even suspect. Well done. Tell me, Gabriel, what do you want? What were you trying to achieve with such behavior? Is our family just an empty sound for you? We've been together for so many years. I believed you. Believed. And now I don't even want to look at you.
Natasha. Gabriel sank heavily into an armchair. Our family is not an empty sound for me. I don't know if you can forgive me, because I'm so guilty. Yes, I was too presumptuous and hoped that you would never find out about Alicia. This connection was a mistake, the biggest mistake in my life. But it was this that made me realize how much I cherish you.
Yeah, go on, tell me. Natasha, I'm serious. And yes, I was about to go to her now, but not at all to... Everything is completely different. I realize that Alicia and I need to end all this. Yes? And who put you up to this?
Natalia smirked.
You...
Gabriel exhaled. Something in your behavior yesterday and today made me realize that if you don't guess about my adventures, you intuitively feel that something wrong is happening. Natasha, we've been together for so many years. Yes, I'm very guilty before you. I fell for that girl's tricks. When I met Alicia, I felt something long lost. You and I got bogged down in routine. The children moved away. It became boring, too familiar. I don't know. Maybe it was a thirst for something new. A thrill, adrenaline production. But with Alicia, I seemed to take a fresh breath of life. And then came a sense of guilt. And soon, I realized that at home waits a truly dear person. And only I myself am to blame that I splashed all my tenderness, love, and affection on another woman. I tried to make up for my guilt with these bouquets, demonstrative attention. And then I didn't notice how my feeling for you came alive again. It became the same as 20 years ago. But what's done can't be undone. I've been trying to break up with Alicia for a month now, and each time swore to myself that this was the last time. But it's so easy for a person to deceive himself. To be honest, I got attached to this girl, and it's difficult for me to just cut everything off without explanations. She's not free, either, but she doesn't love her boyfriend. Alicia has very domineering parents from whom she hides her affair.
Do you love her?
Natalia looked at her husband with sadness. No, Gabriel shook his head. I love only you, and I always have. Alicia is my escape, a door to another world where there are no worries, remorse, or shame. But she's also a guide to real hell. I realized this before I was completely drawn in. Natasha, forgive me. I'll do everything to fix my mistake.
I'll go to her right now and explain everything. I swear to you that we will never see each other again.
I won't be able to forgive you. Natalia turned away.
At least, not right away. Don't ask too much of me. I might decide to divorce you. I know it will negatively affect your reputation, but...
To hell with reputation.
Gabriel jumped up and held his wife tightly. Natasha, I was a fool, weak, trembling with fear of old age, the familiar routine, my own powerlessness. I fell for youth, excitement, risk, and realized that's not what I wanted at all. I'll accept any decision you make, my love. Any decision.
Enough, Gabriel. Natalia pulled away.
Let's discuss this later. I need to process all this. Go wherever you want. I swear to you that I'll break things off with Alicia today. I'll be back soon.
When her husband closed the door behind him, Natalia literally slid down the wall to the floor and, covering her face with her hands, burst into loud sobs. She didn't want to let her husband go. Deep down, she believed he would keep his word. But some inexplicable feeling troubled her. Neither after 1 hour nor after 2 did Gabriel return. Natalia picked up the phone several times to call her husband, but couldn't bring herself to do it.
He lied again, she thought. He probably couldn't resist his young mistress and threw everything away. Fine. When he comes back, I won't say anything. I'll just pack my things, and that's it. Let him live however he wants. His words are worthless. I was ready to forgive if he truly repented. But apparently, that didn't happen. It would take just 5 minutes to end everything. And is he going to convince me that he's been comforting the inconsolable for several hours? That's all nonsense. To hell with him. Until night, Natalia couldn't calm down. She flinched at every rustle in the corridor, at every reflection of headlights in the window. Exactly at midnight, she dialed her husband's number to tell him not to come back. The phone was turned off, which angered the woman even more. She went to bed without waiting for Gabriel. 4 days had passed since Gabriel left. Natalia felt unwell and took sick leave. She barely ate and rarely got out of bed. Gabriel's phone remained silent. It seems he decided to stay there altogether, the woman thought. Well, in any case, he'll come back for his things. And as soon as he appears, I'll file for divorce right away. This is outright mockery. He could have at least called. Scoundrel. Well, he made his choice. It's good that I won't have to call Consuelo. Everything happened on its own, just as she wanted. I brought up divorce, now let her deal with it. Of course, she hardly expected it to turn out like this, but I won't lift a finger to influence the situation. Let it all burn. Closer to evening, someone rang the doorbell. Natalia, who by that time was sound asleep under the effect of a pill, somehow got up from the bed and shuffled to the corridor. She wasn't expecting anyone, and Gabriel had his own keys. Opening the door, the woman froze. Before her stood a young girl with a tear-stained face. Natalia recognized her immediately. It was Alicia. "Why did you come?" Natalia asked in a hoarse voice when the initial stupor passed. "You probably know who I am." "Is Gabriel home?" the girl asked fearfully. "Gabriel?" Natalia was surprised. "Why would he be here? He left for your place on Saturday and hasn't returned since. His phone is off. I should be the one asking you where he is and how he's doing."
Natalia,
Alicia didn't finish and burst into tears.
Come into the house.
The woman looked around.
What happened?
Alicia sighed continuously and couldn't say anything. Natalia led her to the kitchen and sat her at the table. Only after hot tea did the girl somewhat recover. "Better?" Natalia glanced at her. The girl nodded. "Then start telling me everything in order. Gabriel and I agreed to meet on Monday evening. On weekends, he never called me and didn't allow me to call him, but we saw each other almost every evening after work if he managed to reschedule patients. We texted constantly. Constantly, you understand. And then suddenly he went off the grid. I wrote to him all day, but the messages remained unread. Calling was also pointless. The phone was off. To be honest, I thought he was just ignoring me. He had been hinting for a long time that we needed to break up. I was prepared for this, especially since Gabriel always told me that he only loved you and our relationship was just for interest. I even wondered then why he didn't just block me. But this was just being ignored. Something inside told me that something had happened. Yesterday I went to his office, but it was closed. Can you imagine? Even the assistant wasn't there. And today the situation repeated in the morning. Gabriel disappeared. I would never have come to you, but I was consumed with worry. Something happened, and I needed to check. What happened? Natalia felt something sink inside her. Today I talked with my mother. She's a tough person. I don't want to tell all the details of our family relationships, but she's used to keeping everything under control. She even found me a fiancé, Antonio. I was only 17 when she introduced us. I don't know why she decided we were a couple. I never liked him, but he inherited a very good business from his parents. Antonio is a wealthy man, and my mother has always been dependent on money. I was just finishing school then, and my father managed to organize a joint venture with this Antonio. The guy's contribution turned out to be higher. Essentially, my father now depends heavily on him. My mother planned it so that Antonio and I would get married, and the entire business would become family-owned. But nobody asked me. A year and a half ago, when I turned 18, my mother forced me to move in with Antonio. I didn't want to. To be honest, this person scares me. He only seems nice and kind, but I've already managed to see his bad side. He even raised his hand against me once. This happened just before I met Gabriel. I ran away from home then, didn't want to stay, even though Antonio apologized. I just wandered around the city, sobbing uncontrollably. And that's when Gabriel approached me. He asked what happened, tried to comfort me. We went for coffee, and then, I don't know what happened. It was like a wave washed over me. Don't think that I'm some silly girl in love trying to take your husband away. We both understood from the beginning the meaninglessness of this relationship. If it comforts you at all, we rarely slept together. In the 6 months of our relationship, it happened maybe 5 times at most.
What did you do then?
Natalia interrupted in surprise. We talked. Gabriel is a good psychologist. All this time, he's been helping me to rid myself of my parents' influence. I'm still only studying, not working, but I try to save any money I can. It's very hard to give up everything I'm used to, coming from a wealthy family. But I'm ready for any outcome, just not to follow my parents' lead. My friend is already prepared to let me stay with her for a while. She found me a part-time job. I just want to disappear so that neither my mother nor Antonio ever finds me. And Gabriel has been helping me a lot. He explains everything correctly. I realized that all these years I've just been trembling with fear in a golden cage. Okay, that's all clear. But I still don't understand what this has to do with my husband's disappearance, Natalia asked. Today I was talking with my mother. She hinted that she knows everything. I carefully hid everything. If Antonio found out about my relationship with Gabriel, he would simply kill me. He's a bad person. Really bad, Alicia sobbed. And he gets along very well with my mother. Sometimes I even think that she herself is planning to marry him, not trying to marry me off. My mother behaved strangely today. She kept laughing when she saw me pick up the phone. And then I accidentally overheard her phone conversation. She was talking to someone. I don't know who, but her words alarmed me somehow. Another couple of days, probably he'll last. Then we'll need to get rid of him. No, there's no food or water there. It's already the 4th day like this. He won't last long anyway. She doesn't suspect anything. That's exactly what she said, word for word. And you thought she was talking about Gabriel? Natalia was horrified. I don't know what to think. At that moment, I prayed that I just misunderstood something, but my intuition told me that something wasn't right. I thought that if Gabriel simply decided to leave me without saying goodbye, I would quietly leave, as long as he was all right. That's why I came here. But when I saw you, I understood everything. Especially since you recognized me right away. It was noticeable. And I thought that Gabriel had told you everything, and there was nothing to lose. You're wrong. Natalia drummed her fingers on the table. It wasn't Gabriel who told me about you. What do you mean?
Last week I talked with your mother. She pretended to be my patient and laid everything out for me. I didn't believe it then, even though she accompanied everything with photographs. But on Friday, I was convinced that everything I heard was true.
Friday? Alicia mumbled. Yes, Gabriel came by. I had another breakdown because of your mother's manipulations. She's already tired me out with her hints and messages that Antonio is coming back soon. But nothing happened.
Alicia, stop making excuses. Natalia interrupted her.
In any case, you had an affair. That's not so important now. What's important is something else. You say my mother came to you. What did she want?
For me to make Gabriel break up with you, threatening divorce. She gave me until Sunday. On Friday I called and was about to agree, but I changed my mind. I was outraged that she was meddling in my business, and she even offered money.
That's her style, Alicia smirked, wiping her cheek.
At the end, she said that I still had time to think, and if I didn't make concessions, I would have to blame myself.
There, the girl jumped up.
That's proof. She did something to him.
Calm down. It's not proof of anything. First of all, she promised to take measures no earlier than Monday, and Gabriel left on Saturday.
But then it adds up that he's been there for 4 days without food and water. She's holding him somewhere, torturing him. Natalia, we have to do something. Gabriel is a good person. He can't suffer.
Alicia, sit down, Natalia commanded in a stern voice, and the girl obediently fell into a chair. You can't just make baseless accusations against your mother of kidnapping. Gabriel might have simply gone somewhere after our conversation. Believe me, such topics sometimes hit the psyche hard, push a person to strange actions, make them act illogically. Perhaps he just wants to be alone right now, not contacting either me or you. Yes, it's strange that he's not showing up at work. He always treated his patients with reverence. I'll call Anita and find out. It's not excluded that he asked to cancel all appointments.
Cool. Why are you hesitating? Natalia took the phone and dialed her husband's assistant's number.
Anita, good evening, she greeted when they answered on the other end.
Oh my God, Natalia Hernandez. Is everything all right? How is the boss's health?
Why do you ask?
Well, he himself told me on Sunday morning that he wouldn't be around for some time. He's sick, ordered to cancel all appointments for the next week. Meanwhile, I'm calling and calling him, but the phone doesn't answer.
He called you himself.
Natalia was shocked and exchanged glances with the confused Alicia.
He wrote, I was so surprised. Gabriel Rodriguez rarely gets sick. In my memory, he's never taken sick leave. And now? Please tell him that some patients are very worried. They have continuous therapy scheduled.
All right, I'll tell him. The confused Natalia nodded and hung up.
What did she say?
That Gabriel wrote to her on Sunday and cancelled everything. This is definitely some kind of nonsense. My husband never mixed work and personal life. No matter what's happening here, he would personally explain everything to the patients, especially if he gets sick or leaves. No, something's definitely not right here. Especially since he didn't even call Anita, but wrote.
I'm telling you, my mother is behind this. Natalia, let's call the police. And what will we say? That the husband left his wife and never made it to his mistress. I seriously doubt they'll even move to look for him. No, they'll take the report, but... Besides, we don't have any evidence against your mother. No leads on where she might be holding Gabriel. We don't even know who she was talking to on the phone, her accomplice. I doubt she could have kidnapped him alone. And if we go to the police now, we'll only worsen the situation, scare them, and make them act unpredictably.
Well, what to do then?
She said he has strength for a maximum of a couple more days, and then they'll have to dispose of the body. Now is not the time to panic. We need to think carefully and make a plan. Tell me, are you sure Antonio hasn't returned to the country yet?
Yes, that's 100%.
The girl nodded.
He called me this morning, said he wouldn't be back before Friday. He was still finishing business. He's in the Emirates. The background scenery matches too.
Well, the background could be superimposed. the woman frowned.
It's not a problem at all these days. Just think about it yourself. Involving an outsider in a kidnapping is extremely reckless, even for money. Accomplices must trust each other, otherwise they won't succeed. You said yourself that Consuelo and Antonio are close. Plus, both are interested in Gabriel disappearing from your life. Your mother said Antonio doesn't know about your relationship. But now I'm already doubting that. What about your father?
Dad?
Alicia pondered. He's probably the only one I could trust in this situation. He's been in conflict with my mother for a long time. Yes, he also loves money, but from the very beginning he was against Antonio's entry into both the family and the business.
He and my mother constantly argued, forcing me, still a minor at that time, to communicate with him. And not long ago, he asked me if I loved my fiancé.
Of course, I didn't tell him anything about Gabriel, and in general, he rarely communicates with my mother, preferring to stay late at work, just to avoid extra contact with her. It seems your father has still retained some remnants of common sense.
Natalia sighed.
Okay, then we have only one option left.
Which one?
To go to him for help.
To Dad?
Alicia was surprised.
He'll never believe us. You said yourself that there's no evidence. Convincing one person, especially if his beloved daughter is asking, is much simpler than convincing the police. But you'll have to tell him everything.
What?
Alicia, you say my husband helped you fight your fears, right?
Yes. Then, fight. Your father will find out about this sooner or later anyway. And it's better if you tell him yourself than if the information is presented in an unflattering light. You're right, the girl pouted.
Then let's not waste time. Dad is in the office now. There won't be an opportunity to talk to him at home.
There he is!
Alicia shouted when both women were about to get out of the car to visit her father's office.
Dad!
The girl jumped out and nearly sprawled in a huge puddle. The man heading towards a black square SUV froze and turned around.
Daughter,
He said in surprise. Where did you come from?
Dad, something has happened, and we need your help. Alicia's eyes were burning so brightly that her father involuntarily tensed up.
we? He asked.
Yes, meet Natalia, my friend.
Hello. Natalia modestly extended her hand.
Leonardo.
The man returned the handshake. What's happened to you two? You both seem so jumpy.
Dad.
Alicia rattled off.
A person is missing. A very good person. And we think that Mum and maybe Antonio, or someone else from her close circle, had a hand in his disappearance.
What?
The man first frowned, then laughed. That's nonsense. Yes, Consuelo is a difficult woman, but... Are you drunk or something? No, Dad. The girl stretched out. Listen, Leonardo. Natalia intervened. I understand that all this sounds strange, but right now, a person's life is at stake. Natalia, you're an adult woman. I understand that Ali's imagination has run wild, but you... And anyway, who's missing? My husband.
My lover. The women answered in unison.
Okay, confess. Is this a prank? Leonardo looked attentively at both.
This is no prank.
Alicia stomped her foot, splashing mud on her father's pants. Father, I rarely ask you for anything, but this time I simply have no choice. If you love me, you're obliged to at least listen. All right, all right. The man put his hands up in a conciliatory gesture.
Fine. Tell me, but keep in mind, if this is another joke, you'll both regret it. Both Alicia and Natalia explained the situation to Leonardo. Each shared the details that were known to them. When Consuelo was mentioned, her husband grimaced and nodded his head. When the story was finished, he sighed heavily.
You know, all this sounds like the ravings of a lunatic. Leonardo looked into Natalia's eyes. But, he continued, I know my wife well. For money, she'll do anything. I don't exclude the possibility that at some point she finally snapped in her head and decided on something like this. I've repeatedly condemned her for trying to force Alicia into marriage with a man she doesn't love. I saw perfectly well that my daughter was suffering, while my wife only saw the prospects of this marriage. But lately, you, Alicia, have changed, and I calmed down. I thought you had resigned yourself, wanted to marry Antonio yourself. Why didn't you tell me anything? If I had known that the reason for your happiness was completely different, I wouldn't have hesitated for a minute. I would have broken away from that boy, sent you to study in another city, far from Consuelo's influence. You did well to tell me everything, but honestly, I don't quite understand what's required of me.
Daddy, you're smart. You should think of something. After all, you have connections. Ask someone to help. Maybe we need to follow Mom.
I don't think if she's holding your Gabriel locked up somewhere and trying to starve him to death, she'll visit him often.
She told her accomplice that my husband would last another day or two. She'll surely go check if he's still alive or not. We can follow her, Natalia suggested.
Listen, in this case, we risk encountering a corpse. If you want to help the man, then we'll have to look for him without delay, Leonardo frowned.
But we have no idea where he might be.
Alicia gripped her father's arm tightly. Okay, we all need to calm down. Get into my car, the man suggested. After everyone settled in the cabin, Leonardo broke the silence. If we assume that you're not mistaken, and Consuelo is indeed involved in the kidnapping, then she would have made sure that no one would find Gabriel anytime soon. It means that she could be holding him in some place where outsiders don't have access, right?
I think so, Natalia responded. My wife has an old house about 50 kilometers from the city.
Leonardo gazed into the distance. No one lives there, and there are no neighbors. Whether she acted alone or with an accomplice, this place would be well suited for such a purpose. It's an unfinished cottage settlement. We planned to settle there at one time, even before Alicia was born. But there are problems with water. There are enterprises nearby, and the groundwater is heavily polluted. The house is completely built, but without finishing. It's impossible to sell it, and it's registered to Consuelo. I've even forgotten about it. The place is remote, with a forest nearby.
Daddy, let's go there quickly.
Alicia wailed.
Even if you're wrong, we'll at least check. What if he's there?
All right, the man sighed. But keep in mind, if there's no one there, I advise you to go to the police. It's not excluded that your Gabriel simply decided to be alone, and my wife has nothing to do with it. Again, I can't imagine who she could be talking to on the phone and discussing such things with. Daughter, maybe you just misheard or misunderstood.
I understood everything correctly, Alicia pouted.
Stop seeing me as a child. I clearly heard that my own mother is holding someone captive. Even if it's not Gabriel, but some dog, we're still saving a life.
All right, let's go. Her father cut her off. Leonardo's SUV was climbing a steep hill. Reaching the top, the man showed his passengers below.
This is the place. Another 10 minutes and we'll arrive. Creepy, Alicia muttered, examining the lifeless islands of stone structures engulfed in mist. Some lights were burning in the distance. As Leonardo explained, it was some kind of industrial plant that had poisoned all the water in the area.
I pray that it all turns out to be untrue, Natalia sobbed. If he's there, he's probably suffering terribly. It must be awfully cold in those houses.
Now, I'm ready to accept your words as truth.
Leonardo grimly smirked.
This place would make anyone believe in the worst. The car descended to the foot of the hill and, bouncing on bumps, stopped at rusty gates. The doors were connected by a chain, on which a heavy barn lock hung threateningly. We can't go further, the man concluded, jerking the heavy construction, illuminated by bright headlights. Even with a key, you can't open this, and I don't have cutters. Hey, Ali, stop! But the girl, not listening to her father, was already climbing up. Natalia, not wasting time, followed.
What are you doing? Leonardo cried out.
At least wait for me.
He turned off the engine, Immediately, the whole area plunged into impenetrable darkness. Leonardo cursed loudly and began climbing the fence. The women had already made it to the other side and were impatiently waiting for him.
While jumping, Leonardo caught his pant leg on a protruding wire and scratched himself badly.
Just what I need. Tetanus, he grumbled, and turned on his phone's flashlight.
God, what am I doing? If my partners could see me now, they'd be more than surprised.
Oh, Dad! As if you've never climbed fences, Alicia smiled. So, we need to walk about 100 meters down this road, ignoring my daughter, Leonardo announced. Follow me. The road seemed endless. The asphalt was badly broken. All three stumbled several times, and Natalia even managed to fall and almost tumble into a ditch.
The further we go, the less I believe that Consuelo could have dragged someone here, the man noted with displeasure.
Imagine it yourselves. Even if she was with an accomplice, how did they haul this Gabriel here? No, I don't exclude that Consuelo had a key to the gates, but it's still hard to believe. That's it. We've arrived. I haven't been here for 15 years.
Everything has overgrown a lot, but the house is definitely the one. See, there's such an interesting projection on the roof. Consuelo saw it in some magazine and wanted the same. The beam of the flashlight picked out part of the roof from the darkness, slid over the walls of red brick weathered by wind and rain, the faded window frames, and stopped at the porch covered with some junk. Climbing onto it, Leonardo pulled the door. Locked, he waved to his companions. Nothing surprising, though. Keep in mind, I don't have the keys. At the same moment, a deafening ring shattered the thickening silence into small pieces. Why need a key when there are plenty of bricks?
Alicia's eyes flashed.
Careful!
Natalia grabbed her arm. Don't cut yourself. Wrap your hand first. Leonardo, help Alicia up. She can't reach. The woman took off her jacket and put it over the girl's hand.
Alicia climbed onto her father's neck, pushed her hand through the opening created in the window, and felt for the handle. After resisting briefly, it gave way, and the frame moved inward.
Oh!
Alicia screamed, losing her balance.
I've got you, daughter. Don't be afraid.
Now everyone climb in here, the girl whispered loudly. I'm definitely not going alone.
I wouldn't let you go alone. Look at her. She's found a heroine. Gabriel!
Natalia shouted, jumping from the windowsill onto the dusty cement floor.
Gabriel, are you here?
There was no answer. Okay, we need to split up, Leonardo suggested. Turn on your phone flashlights and check all the rooms. The house is large. I'll go down to the basement. If you find anyone, shout. All three went in different directions. Natalia stepped slowly across the floor covered with some junk, going from one room to another.
Gabriel!
She called plaintively, illuminating her path ahead. Groans were heard from somewhere to the side. God, I didn't just imagine that, did I? Fear paralyzed Natalia.
Gabriel!
The sound repeated, and the woman, nearly losing her balance, rushed to its source. The flashlight beam caught some large bundle lying motionless in the corner of a room resembling a kitchen.
Gabriel!
The woman called softly.
Is that you? The bundle stirred. Oh, God, Gabriel!
Natalia rushed to him.
I found him! I found him!
The man lay bound with duct tape over his mouth, covered with some old rags. His hair was matted with dried blood. Darling, it's okay. We found you. God, thank you. Thank you, Alicia and Leonardo. My love, I'll untie you now. The knots won't give. Wait.
Better try with a knife. Leonardo's voice came from behind, and immediately his hands began skillfully operating a small Swiss knife.
Gabriel!
Alicia squealed, running in after her father.
You're alive! Dad! Natalia, we made it!
When they removed the ropes from the man, which had left deep furrows on his wrists, both women pressed against him, crying either from pity or joy. I'm leaving tomorrow.
A joyful Alicia entered the ward, holding a beautiful flower bouquet.
Dad has already arranged for my transfer at the university. What about Consuelo?
Natalia looked at her. Gabriel was sleeping under the effect of sedatives. During his captivity, he had lost a lot of weight and was now actively regaining strength through IVs. Mom confessed to everything. The girl sighed, sitting down nearby and gently stroking the man's hand. It turns out Antonio wasn't in any Emirates. He returned a week before the kidnapping. They carefully planned everything. If Gabriel had voluntarily broken up with me, or I with him, nothing would have happened. Moreover, they couldn't wait and grabbed him at the moment when he approached my house. Neither Mom nor Antonio suspected that Gabriel had come to end everything. They hit him on the head, dragged him into a car, and tied him up, then kept him in that house. Antonio was also detained, but he's silent. The investigator says it won't be for long. Dad is very angry with Mom and said he won't help her. She made this mess, let her deal with it herself. And I don't even feel sorry for her.
The doctors say that Gabriel is severely emaciated and dehydrated. The hypothermia took its toll.
Natalia sighed.
But he needs time, and he'll recover. If we had delayed even one more day, not convinced Leonardo, it would have been too late. So you should be thanked for your persistence, Alicia. You weren't afraid to tell your father everything, and saved a person's life by doing so. Gabriel will be proud of you.
Why are you like this, Natalia?
The girl smiled.
You should hate me. After all, I almost destroyed your family. And you not only smile at me, but also thank me.
You're still silly, Alicia. Natalia looked at her husband.
We all make mistakes. The ability to acknowledge a mistake, repent, and try to fix everything is worth more than the mistake itself. Just like the ability to forgive. I'm still angry with Gabriel, but he's my husband, and I love him.
If you're enjoying it as well, leave a like and subscribe to the channel.